Among America's religious communities, the Amish and Mennonites share Anabaptist roots yet maintain distinctly different identities. Nowhere are these differences more visible than in their wedding ceremonia sacred moments that preserve centuries of tradition. Though appearing similar to outsiders, these marriage customs reveal profound cultural contrasts that define each community's path. Engagement practices. In Amish communities, courtship begins subtly at Sunday singings, where young people gather under watchful community eyes. Couples meet primarily at community functions, with little privacy allowed. Meanwhile, Mennonites permit more open dating practices with parental rather than community oversight. When commitment approaches, Amish couples publish their intentions weeks before the ceremony, while Mennonites announce formal engagements. These contrasting approaches reflect deeper differences in how each community balances individual choice with traditional values. Pre-wedding preparations. As wedding day approaches, the community's divergent paths become clearer. Amish preparations focus entirely on simplicity, with families preparing homesteads for ceremonies that will host hundreds. The community mobilizes cleaning barns, moving furniture, and arranging benches for the ceremony. Mennonites allow modest modern touches in their preparations, often decorating church venues with simple flowers. While Amish collect practical household gifts beforehand, Mennonite brides may enjoy pre-wedding showers. Yet both traditions emphasize spiritual readiness, with couples receiving counsel from elders about marriage's sacred duties and the foundation of a godly household. Wedding day structure. The wedding day reveals stark structural differences between these communities. Amish weddings occur primarily on Tuesdays or Thursdays in late fall after harvest, allowing farming communities to gather without disrupting work rhythms. Mennonites show more flexibility, often holding weekend ceremonies throughout the year. Venue choices speak volumes. Amish transform family homes and barns into sacred spaces, while Mennonites utilize their church buildings. An Amish ceremony stretches beyond 3 hours, with guests seated according to gender, while Mennonite services typically run shorter with family-based seating arrangements. The timeline differs too. Amish ceremonies begin in morning hours, followed by extended feasting, while Mennonite celebrations often start midday. Throughout, both ministers and elders guide proceedings, though their specific roles reflect each community's governing structure and understanding of spiritual authority. Attire and appearance. Perhaps nothing distinguishes these weddings more visibly than attire. The Amish bride wears a new blue dress-knot white that becomes her Sunday church dress after marriage, symbolizing continuity rather than transition. This dress, sewn by her own hands, features no ornamentation, maintaining the strict simplicity central to Amish identity. Mennonite brides often wear white modest gowns, sometimes with subtle decorative elements that would be forbidden in Amish circles. While both communities value modesty, Mennonite interpretations allow slightly more latitude in design and appearance. The groom's attire tells a similar story. Amish men wear black suits without collars, often their first suit, which will later serve for church and special occasions. Mennonite grooms wear more conventional suits, sometimes with ties, reflecting their community's different boundaries with mainstream society. Headwear carries particular significance. Amish brides wear white prayer caps, while married women wear black or blue ones. The bridal cap transitions to the married woman style after the ceremony, visibly marking her new status. Mennonite women's prayer coverings vary more widely between communities, from traditional larger coverings to smaller, more symbolic versions in progressive congregations. Neither community embraces jewelry extensively, though some Mennonite groups permit simple wedding bands absent entirely from Amish tradition. The wedding party dresses similarly to the couple, with consistency throughout, avoiding any distinction that might bring undue attention to individuals over community. Regional variations exist within both groups. Lancaster County Amish wedding attire differs subtly from Midwest communities, reflecting centuries of separate development. Despite these variations, the underlying principles remain constant. Amish, emphasizing separation from the world, Mennonites allowing selective adaptation while maintaining modest distinction. Ceremonial elements. The ceremony highlights theological contrast between Anabaptist branches. Amish weddings feature a 3-hour sermon on marriage's spiritual meaning, submission, community, and separation from the world. Mennonite services are shorter, with scripture readings and congregational involvement. Vow exchanges differ. Amish couples respond with brief affirmations, emphasizing community over personal expression. Mennonite vows remain modest but permit more personal commitment language while holding theological depth. Music marks another contrast. Amish ceremonies use slow, a cappella German hymns with no instruments. Mennonites, especially progressive ones, may sing in 4-part harmony with piano or organ, while conservative groups retain unaccompanied singing. Scripture choices reflect differing emphases. Amish often reference Ephesians on submission and household order. Mennonites select texts on mutual commitment and partnership. Traditional Amish ceremonies may include German or Pennsylvania Dutch, preserving heritage. Silence is central in Amish services, offering space for quiet reflection. The Amish congregation primarily observes, while Mennonite attendees may participate through responses or shared readings. Photography practices show further contrast. The Amish forbid it entirely, citing biblical prohibitions on graven images. Mennonites allow modest photography, avoiding elaborate pose sessions. Emotionally, Amish weddings remain deeply solemn, reflecting reverence and restraint. Mennonite ceremonies balance solemnity with quiet celebration. Despite these distinctions, both traditions conclude with the community's formal blessing of the union. Elders bestow final prayers, establishing the couple's new household within the shared faith. The celebration. After solemn ceremonies, Amish celebrations shift to the ek, feast named after the corner table where the newlyweds and their attendants sit. This symbolic placement represents their new role within the community. Amish weddings often host 200, 400 guests served in shifts. Young, unmarried members act as waiters, gaining experience in community service. Traditional dishes roast chicken, mashed potatoes, creamed celery, and homemade bread air served family style. Certain foods carry special meaning. Roashed, coffee with cream, appears only at weddings. Celery, used as both decoration and refreshment, lines the tables. Dessert pies, cakes, and cookies are simple, without extravagant decoration or formal wedding cakes. Mennonite receptions vary more with community progressiveness. Traditional groups serve meals like the Amish, typically in church halls. More progressive congregations might use community centers, offering buffet-style meals with slightly more variety, while still emphasizing modesty. Gifts are practical. Amish couples receive quilts, canned goods, furniture, or farming tools, often displayed in a special room. Mennonites follow similar traditions, though progressive groups may use gift registries for household essentials. Neither community allows dancing, alcohol, or flashy entertainment. Mennonites, in some progressive circles, may include games, modest decor, or recorded music. The heart of the event remains in shared meals and meaningful conversation. Preparation is a communal effort. Amish women gather days ahead to cook using generational recipes. This shared labor becomes part of the celebration, reinforcing support around the new couple. Weddings double as reunions. Guests often travel far, some arriving by hired drivers or buses, staying with local families for several days. As the day winds down, Amish celebrations continue into the evening with songs and fellowship. Mennonite weddings often end earlier with a formal send-off. The focus throughout remains on integrating the couple into the community, not separating them from it. Post-wedding customs. The distinctions between Amish and Mennonite communities extend far beyond the wedding day. Amish couples skip traditional honeymoons and instead embark on wedding visits, spending weekends visiting relatives throughout their first year. These visits include shared meals and gift-giving, reinforcing family ties. Mennonite newlyweds may take modest honeymoons, often family visits for conservative groups, while progressive Mennonites allow more travel freedom. After marriage, Amish couples usually live with the groom's parents or in a nearby dowdy house, supporting intergenerational living and knowledge transfer. Mennonites typically establish their own households right away, though still near family. Both communities help new couples with land or home construction through family and community support. Church involvement also shifts post-marriage. Amish women join their husband's church district if from different areas, adapting to a new ordnung. In both traditions, married couples sit separately from singles during church services. Mentorship plays a central role. Older couples guide newlyweds during the first year, more formally structured among the Amish. Anniversary celebrations remain simple in both traditions, especially among the Amish. Marriage brings clear lifestyle shifts for women. Amish wives don a different cap and focus on home management. Mennonite women's roles vary, with some continuing outside work depending on community conservatism. Ultimately, both traditions emphasize building faith-centered homes. Daily devotions, prayers, and religious teaching become shared duties. The wedding isn't an end, it's the beginning of a new household committed to preserving faith and community values for generations to come. Modern adaptations. Despite appearances of unchanging tradition, both communities have adapted their wedding practices, though at dramatically different rates. Amish weddings remain remarkably consistent with ceremonies from centuries past, with adaptations limited mainly to practical considerations like accommodating larger guest numbers. The spectrum of Mennonite communities shows much greater variation. Conservative Mennonites maintain weddings similar to traditional patterns, while progressive congregations incorporate selective modern elements, professional photography, printed programs, more decorative attire, and occasionally modest engagement rings. Technology's role creates stark contrasts. Amish wedding planning happens entirely through in-person communication or written notes. Meanwhile, progressive Mennonite communities might utilize email invitations or even wedding websites, though with simplicity compared to mainstream practices. Wedding timing shows adaptation as well. Traditional Amish maintain Tuesday or Thursday ceremonies, though some communities have shifted to accommodate guests' travel needs. Mennonite weddings have largely moved to weekends, allowing wider attendance from those working in non-agricultural occupations. Guest composition reflects changing community boundaries. Amish weddings remain primarily community affairs with limited outside attendance. Mennonite ceremonies increasingly include non-Mennonite friends, colleagues, and extended family, necessitating changes to explain traditions to those unfamiliar with their significance. Gift practices show evolution too. While Amish maintain traditional practical gifting, progressive Mennonite communities sometimes incorporate gift registries. Both communities navigate tensions between maintaining simplicity and acknowledging modern household needs. Language use in ceremonies has evolved, with English replacing German in many elements, though traditional Amish districts maintain German for core ceremonial components. Transportation arrangements reflect each community's boundaries, with technology with horse and buggy arrival for Amish couples, contrasting with modest car usage among Mennonites. Documentation practices show perhaps the most visible adaptation. While Old Order Amish maintain prohibition on photography, some New Order Amish communities allow limited documentary photos. Mennonite practice ranges from limited photography to nearly mainstream documentation, though always with emphasis on modesty and avoiding excessive focus on individuals. Throughout these adaptations, each community negotiates change according to their understanding of separation from or engagement with broader society. The Amish approach wedding tradition preservation as central to cultural survival, while Mennonites seek meaningful adaptation that maintains core values while acknowledging changing circumstances. Preservation of traditions. These distinctive wedding traditions anchor cultural identity in both communities. For the Amish, each practice draws a clear line between them and mainstream society, emphasizing separation from worldly influence. Every element is intentionally preserved to maintain this boundary. Mennonites, meanwhile, preserve selectively retaining spiritually significant aspects while allowing for cultural adaptation. This reflects their belief in being in the world but not of it, engaging with society yet holding on to religious distinctiveness. Preservation methods vary. Amish pass down traditions through oral storytelling and lived experience. Young people learn by attending weddings long before their own, absorbing the customs through participation. There's little formal instruction, tradition lives through doing. Mennonites blend oral tradition with documentation. Some communities publish wedding guidelines or historical records, enabling them to evaluate which parts hold theological weight versus cultural preference. Preserving consistency is a growing challenge. As both groups spread geographically and shift economically from farms to businesses, wedding logistics evolve. Increased contact with outsiders also raises questions about explaining or adapting practices. In both groups, elders guide tradition. Amish bishops hold strong ceremonial authority, while Mennonite practices are shaped by congregational consensus. Emotionally, these customs offer stability. Couples are connected to generations before them through identical rituals. Familiar patterns provide clarity during life transitions. Community participation reinforces support for the new union. Tourism adds pressure.